Seasonal magazine recently caught up with Hari Menon, co-founder and CEO of BigBasket, India's largest online grocery and supermarket, for this exclusive interview. The company has made a remarkable turnaround during the pandemic, from the verge of collapse to 100% growth, with monthly gross sales touching 1 billion US dollars or rupees 7,500 crore. Between the Janta curfew of 22nd March and the full lockdown of 25th March, Big Basket lost 80% of its delivery staff. Could anything have been worse? Well, plunging from 2 lakh delivered orders daily to just 28,000 delivered orders for one. And during that last week of March and the first week of April, co-founder and CEO Hari Menon and his team worked frantically with numerous authorities, right from the central government to all the state governments, to all the local administrations, and to even the police departments in numerous cities to open up the clogged supply chains. Then they went in for one of their largest recruitment drives ever to fill up nearly 80% of their delivery posts by forging over 50 partnerships with government and private companies as well as industry associations to temporarily hire their jobless staff. Within 18 days, over 12,000 new employees were recruited and trained. The desperate attempt was to claw back what they had swiftly lost in a fortnight, what they had painstakingly built up since 2011. But such hard work never ever goes without its full reward. By May, Big Basket was doing record sales, clocking 3.5 lakh orders daily and hitting the coveted 1 billion US dollars gross merchandise value for the first time in its history. And this was not by any kind of price increase, but rather by automatic cost efficiency, as the company had to do more with less resources. This has also enabled India's biggest e-grocer to turn contribution margin positive for the first time ever, which is a first step in the long road to become break-even. In the months of June and July, Big Basket has not only maintained its gross sales above 1 billion US dollars, but has moved further ahead on the profitability path, with the firm expected to be EBITDA positive soon. Hari Menon credits his co-founders, the entire Big Basket team, the various central and state government agencies, and above all, Big Basket's rapidly growing customer base for this turnaround. The dramatic change in fortune was next to impossible without the sudden crisis, says Hari. An alumnus of BITS Pilani and Carnegie Mellon, Hari Menon has both been a CEO and a serial entrepreneur of several companies, including India's first online plus offline e-commerce chain, FabMall or FabMart, much before Flipkart and Amazon started in the country, and their offline stores were later sold to Aditya Birla's More chain of supermarkets. Interestingly, all the other co-founders of BigBasket, V.S. Sudhakar, Vipul Parekh, Abhinay Chaudhary, and V.S. Ramesh have been partners of Hari at FabMart. They sold out FabMart in 2006, parted ways to become angel investors on their own, but regrouped in 2011 to start BigBasket. After initial years of struggle, these co-founders moved into the big league after choosing Alibaba as a major investor and strategic partner, whom they chose above Amazon and Walmart after much deliberation. Born and brought up in a middle-class family in Mumbai, Hari Menon is thankful for the grounded upbringing by his parents, as well as the inspiration from his wife Shanti Menon, who founded Bengaluru's Dean's Academy. An avid fan of music and cricket, Hari's role models include his father-in-law E. Sridharan, India's renowned Metro man, and Rahul Dravid, on whose cricketing and personality traits he says he is modeling Big Basket's services. Though facing increasing competition from Big Bazaar, Amazon, Flipkart, and now JioMart in the grocery space, Hari Menon is unfazed as he banks on the sheer size of the grocery market in India, which is now at 500 billion US dollars, as well as a gross under-penetration of online stores, which even now controls only 1% of this enormous business. According to him, with superior service levels like quality, punctuality, hygiene, and contactless delivery, which Big Basket pioneered, the company hopes to stay ahead as the leader as it is now. The company is also investing rupees 200 crore into building its own private label, as it is a significant growth avenue. Seasonal Magazine's John Anthony in conversation with Hari Menon, co-founder and CEO of Big Basket.
So we can start off?
Yeah, we can.
We heard this remarkable story of BigBasket losing almost your entire delivery staff just before lockdown and rebuilding it entirely within weeks. What kept you going in those days?
Actually, what kept me going is just sheer, making sure that I tell myself I have a lot of resilience, making sure that I tell my teams that build a lot of resilience between amongst all of us. That's all I can, that we can ask for. It was extremely tough those few days, starting from March 22nd. When we actually when the first Janta lockdown was announced, that particular day, although we were allowed to deliver on the ground, the information hadn't reached our various cities from the center, and hence there was a lot of confusion. So because of which we had to actually shut down operations within 2 hours. And then actually the next 2 days, life was normal. But because of the whole fear of COVID, etc., in those 23rd, 24th, we lost 80% of our workforce. They all just migrated back to their respective homes. And on 25th, the lockdown got announced. So we were left with about 20+% workforce and orders surging, actually, huge number of orders coming in, because everybody at that point in time just wanted to move online because the stores were shut. There was a fear of going to stores, right? People are worried. And so we had huge surge in orders and we had no people to deliver. Well, that was a very, very tough situation. So all we could tell ourselves is that, listen, we need to get up and make sure that we recover very, very quickly. And the single biggest thing that we had to do was just get people. And now we couldn't get people cross-border because most of our people were actually coming from outside of Bangalore and outside of our cities, right? Because in the cities it had dried up many years ago, a couple of years ago. And so people are migrating from other smaller towns and coming in for work, right? And we were actually, they were the ones who were actually working for us. Now we had to now go back and basically just get people from the cities, right? And we didn't know how easy or difficult it's going to be because it had all dried up. So what we did at that point in time was we had some at that point about 55 or 56 partnerships that we created, and hats off to my entire operations team led by HR who created this. And when I say this, for example, we went to the National Restaurant Association and told them that restaurants are shut, so I'm sure your people are looking for jobs, and whoever are left in the cities, and we are willing to actually hire them. And we'll hire them and we can even get into contracts saying that when you start, we'll give them back to you, because by which time we were expecting that our older people will come back. Then we went to Retailers Association and said all the non-essential retailers who had also shut, we said we can provide employment to you. We went to garment factories which were shut, right, which were closing, and we went to them and said we can hire your people and give them jobs. We tied up with Uber, we tied up with taxi drivers, we tied up with auto rickshaw drivers. I mean, anything that we could think of who could help us deliver and who could help us get people to the warehouse, we were willing to do and get into arrangements. And in 20 days time, less than 20 days, 18 days time, we hired 12,300 people. And we've never ever done that before. Never ever. Hiring 12,300 people in 18 odd days. And that's because teams just decided that this is our opportunity. We're getting huge surge of orders, and it will be a shame on us if we really can't deliver. And people took it on them. People told themselves this is national duty because we are delivering actually food to people's homes when there is a complete lockdown, complete uncertainty, so much of worries. And so people really took it up on them and delivered. Tough times, and within about a week to 10 days, we were kind of up and running. I must also state one more thing before I let you go on to your next question, is the support that we got from the government. And I must tell you, at that point in time when the lockdown got announced, the government realized that essential services are critical, for homes to keep their homes going. And it's important to take out all bottlenecks that they're facing. So they called us. We were in meetings with multiple government agencies. I remember I used to sit maybe 3-4 meetings a day, and they were trying to help us on calls like this, right? We have Zoom calls like this, and they solve problems. Trucks are stuck somewhere. You need passes. You need support from local authorities. They were really solving our problems. And in about 3-4 days time, all those bottlenecks were cleared, right? And in about 10-15 days, we got our people back and we were back up and running. But those 15 days were like really trying.
You had remarked that when BigBasket was forced to do more with less resources, many breakthroughs happened. Can you explain this?
Yeah, I must explain this to you because this is something that is quite dear to me and dear to us in the organization. There are two things that we took out of this whole experience and this whole learning. Is that one is, like I mentioned, organizations really need to build resilience in situations like this. When you get into things like this, you need to make sure that you yourself first, your colleagues, your management team, and everybody in the organization builds resilience, because you have to build a resilient organization to counter something like this. And that's one that we learned, and thanks to which people stood up and delivered what they had to do, right? Second is, we learned this concept, and it is a very interesting concept, and I'm hoping that sometimes I can write about it, write a book on it. Is something that I've learned in these last 3-4 months, is this whole concept of doing more with less. Okay, it's something that we internalized completely in our organization, right? And what that meant was that in times like this, you're constrained on everything in life, right? You're constrained with people, you're constrained on resources, you're constrained on space, you're constrained on so many things. And so your ability to work under those constraints and deliver more with less is something that will make you work. So what that means is that we were able to actually tweak our processes, we were able to tweak technology, we were able to bring in a lot of changes quickly and in very quick time to deliver more with less. So we devised methods where we could improve people productivity, right? In terms of our blue collar workers, people productivity went up quite well in the work from home situation, right? And I must tell you that this started applying even to my personal life, right? Because we all were learning how to do more with less, because our whole lives had become very simple, and and we were so happy about it, right? And so we never thought that you could live such simple lives, with bare minimum things and still enjoy it. And so that is why I believe that one learning of how to do more with less was very, very critical during that period, and we applied it so well, that we're able to turn a lot of things around.
I think in May or June, you had crossed 1 billion in gross merchandising value. How has the demand been since then?
It sustains. Demand is sustaining. We believe that this is just not a COVID moment, and this is something that people keep asking me, saying, Hari, is this just COVID moment? Which means that because it's COVID, and so when the unlock happens and people start going back to their normal lives, will the surge stop? Now we are convinced, and I strongly believe that this is only going to continue and get better. And I'll tell you why. I have three good reasons for why we think that we continue. One is that the demand continues to be very strong. The surge continues. The tailwinds are really strong. And the reason being that you're seeing now serious movement to online, where people are realizing that the online is a safer and better way to actually buy things, right? And that's happening. One. Second, very important thing that we've noticed is that our retention cohorts have been excellent. So which means that we acquired a lot of new customers during this COVID period, right? Our new customer acquisition actually doubled, and new customer orders and new customers by value tripled. And so it was important for us to retain these new customers, because it shouldn't be that they come and when things open up, they go back. And we realized that we were actually retaining customers extremely well. So all those new customers who came in, most of them we've retained. And those retention cohorts is what tells us that this is something that will continue. Number three, we believe that there is still a lot of pent-up demand in many of our cities, right? Because they've all been affected by lockdowns. For example, Chennai is shut on Sundays. Even we can't operate on Sundays, right? There are many things on the ground which doesn't give you the full potential of the city. And as we go along, those things will start opening up and getting better. So we see a lot of pent-up potential that we still haven't captured in those cities. So these three reasons, I believe that this is something that's going to continue. It's been going on for about 4 months now. The 5th month looks good, and September is also expected to look as good. So which means that we see a good movement, great movement that's happening to the online space.
Last month or so, you had also turned contribution margin positive. Was it due to the
Yes.
cost-cutting measures? Have you moved even more towards the break-even point?
Yeah, so we haven't done any cost cutting, right? So we didn't have to. We were hiring actually. We were hiring people, and so there was no cost cutting for us. We got more efficient. We got absolutely more cost efficient, and that's what helped us get to contribution margin profitability. Like doing more with less really helped us. Do a lot more with lesser resources, and that made us more cost efficient. That is one. Our average order values went up, right? Because people are actually, initially stocking up, but eventually are now buying more, because initially people used to buy online and offline. Now what's happened is a lot of people have moved most of it online, right? And so that trend will continue. And third is we've also seen improvements in our gross margins, because there are a lot of categories which actually earlier were not selling as much, started selling a lot more, like gourmet, baking products, right? A whole lot of things, nutritional products, health products, right? Have started selling more. And so we think that these are the three reasons that got us contribution margin positive. We are very, very close to being EBITDA positive, which is being profitable company wide. It's just a matter of, I think, a month or two for us to actually get to that stage also. Yeah.
You mentioned EBITDA positive?
Yes.
Okay.
So we are contribution positive now. We are very close to getting EBITDA positive. Okay. It's a matter of, I think, a month or two, and we've advanced this whole thing by almost about 15 to 18 months. This would have happened actually 15 months later, and it's all got advanced. So we are almost there as far as company-wide profitability is also concerned, which is EBITDA.
BigBasket's IPO would be an eagerly anticipated one. When are you tentatively planning for it?
Well, we haven't planned yet, but we will put our minds into it soon. We don't have a date as yet.
And you and other co-founders come from a background of entrepreneurship even during the dot-com era. How has all these experiences helped you in planning a better strategy for BigBasket?
Well, I think a lot of learnings have come from our previous, avatars, from our previous ventures, right? Which we did FabMart first, and then we did Fab Mall, which is the physical stores, which was acquired by the Aditya Birla Group, and those are the stores that are called More now, right? So we've gone through that whole journey, lots and lots of learnings in terms of what are the important things to look at, and it just made us more wiser by the time we reached 2011 to start BigBasket. So we've had tremendous amount of learnings as to when we should start, what should the environment look like, right? How capital raise has to be done, and how do you ensure that you have enough capital available all the time? Building large teams, execution, a lot of these things we've actually become a lot more mature after our first stint. And more importantly, actually, we learned the grocery supply chain very well in the first stint, right? And that has come to great use, right? Because that's a very complex supply chain, so especially the perishables and the fresh produce. So that whole Farmer Connect piece that we have today, which is one of our most strategic pieces, where we sell fruits and vegetables online, has come because of what we had done in the past.
Apart from groceries, what are your immediate plans to broaden your product portfolio?
We are not going beyond groceries. We are clear. We are very focused, in that sense, very sharply focused, and we don't want to distract ourselves by doing anything else other than groceries.
No plans to be an Amazon or Flipkart?
No.
Even though they are getting into your turf?
Yeah, but we remain focused on groceries because we think that there is so much to do in this space, right? If you look at just the grocery market in India, it's a single largest market actually. The retail is the single largest market in India, which is $800 billion. About 65% of that is grocery. Now, in a size like that, which is like $500-600 billion, I mean, I think there is so much to do, and we are just scratching the surface today. So we're going to continue to remain focused on grocery.
Contactless delivery has been a high point of your strategies ever since the pandemic emerged. How is this implemented?
So contactless delivery essentially means that the customer doesn't have to meet or see the delivery boy at all. So what happens is that, first of all, we made all payments digital. So we don't take cash on delivery, and that we stopped as soon as COVID hit, because that's the first point of contact. So customer pays digitally, and the customer leaves a bag outside the door. We just drop things into the bag, and the CE leaves. So it's a very simple contactless process where we don't ring the doorbell also. We only ring the doorbell if the customer doesn't leave a bag outside. So you don't know where to leave it, because we wouldn't like to leave stuff on the floor because they're food items. So that at best they would ring the bell and ask the customer to give a bag, and the customer shuts the door after that. And then the CE just puts things inside. I think there's certain amount of credibility built around BigBasket. There's certain amount of trust built around BigBasket. So it's working very well for us.
Around 80% of your customers are following this protocol, these bags and
100%.
100%.
Yeah, there are customers who don't leave the bag outside, but then we ring the bell and ask them for a bag. So,
with formidable competitors like Jio, Amazon, and Flipkart emerging in groceries, what do you think are the core advantages enjoyed by BigBasket?
Well, I think this market is too large. So I think this worrying about competition, I keep telling everybody who asks me this, is pointless, because in such large markets cannot be played by one player. You need multiple players to come in, and when they come in, the market grows, right? Online is today 1% of the whole retail business. Now to move 1% to 5%, 8%, 10%, what happens? How do you do that? When more players come in, market expands, right? More noise in the market, more people available. And I think what will differentiate players in the grocery business is only going to be service quality. Only going to be service quality. Because it's a complex business, it's important for customers to get their groceries on time, get them fresh, get them without having any problems, get them without having any quality issues. And to solve for all this, right, it's not easy, and get it on time. More importantly, get 100% or close to 100% fill rate. So if I order 100 items, 10 items, I must get all 10 items. Otherwise, I have to go back to the store, right? So it's service quality is what will define players in this space very clearly.
But will disruptions like how Jio did it in the mobile market, like discounting measures, that kind of thing will happen in grocery?
Yeah, it's not easy to do that in food, because people don't get too carried away with discounts on food items. You can do it for some time, but people don't normally expect such kind of deep discounts like you would expect on a mobile phone and stuff like that, right? More so, I think FMCG companies are also very careful about this, because they don't want their larger markets to get disrupted, right? Because they have, like I told you, online is 1%. The modern trade, what we call modern retail, right, in grocery, which is Reliance, More, Future, Big Bazaar, D-Marts, Spencer's, all of them put together is 4%. So this is 5%. 95% is Kirana stores. The FMCG companies cannot afford to disrupt that, right? By differentiating by giving price advantages to the 5% of the market, right? So it never happens. It rarely happens globally, and that's why grocery is a little different.
What is the percentage growth in this online switching? So customers are switching to online. What is the growth rate in the online space now in groceries?
We have grown a little over 100%.
That is your
pre-COVID to COVID, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I would think that the online business would have typically grown about 60-70%.
Okay. Anything else that you would like to add to regarding BigBasket's unique offerings, upcoming plans and all?
No, nothing really. We just launched last year 2 new formats, which is BB Daily and BB Instant. BB Daily is our subscription business, where it's led by milk, and we also sell a lot of fresh produce. It's delivered early in the morning, where you can subscribe for milk. It's only there in tier 1 towns right now, tier 1 cities. And so you can subscribe for your what you need every day till about 10 o'clock in the night. And next morning, we deliver it between 5 and 7:30 in one slot. So milk is milk subscription. And then along with that, you can order fruits and vegetables, bread, dairy, eggs. And this is again contactless. It just gets left in a bag outside like the milk person does. And we go. So this business is scaling a lot for us. And here customers buy almost 17 to 18 times a month, right? Because it's milk, right? The second thing that we have is BB Instant, which are vending machines, which we are putting in apartment complexes and in corporate offices, right? They use a technology called load cell. So you use your app, choose what you want, go to the machine, It opens on its own. You pick up things that you want, and it automatically debits your wallet and you put it back. If you don't like something, you put it back and you credit your wallet. And so those are these nice BB vending machines that we have in complexes. This is basically meant for top-ups. You want biscuits, you want snacks, you want quickly you've forgotten something, so you just want to go and pick it up. Is what it enables. We've also set up a new business which is beauty last year, and that has started doing well. And the last thing that we're doing is we are now deepening and strengthening our meats supply chain and becoming stronger on the meats category.
This vending machine is already launched in some markets?
Yes. Yes, we've launched it in Bangalore, Hyderabad, and in NCR. And we're now slowly expanding to other cities.
And how many cities you are now available, BigBasket service?
26.
26.
26.
Same day delivery in 26
Yes.
cities.
Yes,
And
yes.
next day delivery in any more cities?
No.
No.
We are in 26 cities only. Yeah. That's
I
all. When
know.
we do same day delivery,
In a city like Kochi,
all cities.
same day delivery is there?
Same day or next day. Depends on, on how much capacity we have and, what's the status of orders, attrition, absenteeism. So a lot of things, come into play, right? But it's either same day or worst case next day, next morning. Yeah.